Hey everyone, how are you doing? Coach T, how are you?
I'm great, Nkosilathi. How are you?
I'm all thanks.
Thank you so much for coming.
It's great
Such
to be
an
here.
honor. Alright, let's get into it. So the first question is, who is Nkosilathi Dube, apart from the accolades and achievements?
So Nkosilathi Dube is a follower of Christ. I'm a son, I'm a brother. I'm a young kid who's a dreamer. I believe in helping others more than you help yourself. Because love your neighbor as you love yourself. That's the foundation of all life. I believe faith the size of a mustard seed can move mountains. So that all those sum up who I am and what I do.
Wow, alright. And getting into golf, what are some of the accolades you've picked up from playing golf?
So looking at my golf career, golf was actually me being naughty. I was skipping rugby practice to go for golf. So earlier in 2019, I got the opportunity to be in the squad that was in training to go to Malawi for the Tri-Nations Championships. And then I've been Chapman Golf Club Golfer of the Year this was 2021. And at the Heritage School, I've been a 2-time Golfer of the Year. So this is just the beginning. It's the least of what I'm going to achieve. The best is yet to come.
Wow, alright. And I've watched a couple of your interviews. And in one of them you said golf is more than a sport, it's a way of life. So what have you learned on the course that you've applied to your everyday life?
I'll describe an experience I've had on the golf course. So golf is not like any sport, especially when you play it here in Zim. It's not like any sport where you have a lot of people watching you. When you hit your ball, you go maybe into longer grass. The ball's there, no one's there looking at you. So you can choose to pick it up and put it somewhere better, but you don't. That's the part of integrity that it teaches you. It also teaches you patience, because that sport is the hardest sport I've ever played. But you keep learning with every experience, and with each tournament you play, you can never be the best. You still have to keep going. Even Tiger Woods, he keeps learning and he keeps improving. And it's also a sport that helps you to inspire the people that are coming after you. An example of Tiger Woods as well, he's inspired thousands of people, and especially his son who's taking up the golf now. So it's a sport that teaches you patience, resilience, because you have to work hard even if the results don't come that day. I'll give an example of my training program. I can go from 6 to 6, just practicing a shot from here to where the entrance is. But that's because it's the hard work. So you won't be able to see that any day, but it will show in the consistency of our performance and the results. So all those are priceless.
Yeah, alright. And you got into Heritage on a rugby scholarship. Where were you coming from, and how did you get to obtain this scholarship?
I was coming from Highlands Primary School. I have 2 of my friends from Highlands Primary there. So I came from Highlands Primary School, and when I started playing rugby, actually, I skipped soccer practices. I was telling Callum there to go for rugby, and I just found a passion in it. And I could run past everyone. I was one of the quick guys. So we got an opportunity to play at the East Coast tournament hosted at the Heritage School. So one of the coaches spotted me as a young prodigy, and he came to me, but I was in grade 6 at the time, and he offered me the place, and lucky enough for me, I got to carry on the following year, which was a great opportunity.
And around this time, that's when your life took a turn, correct? What happened there?
Yeah, so let me try getting through this without getting emotional. So this was a bit of a hard one for me. My dad was quite a good entrepreneur. He's into CCTV and access control. His name is James Dube. So his business was really going well, but somehow some bird chirped ideas into his ears to go into mining. So mining, you have to invest a lot, but you get little back. Little did we know. So for him, my mom was at Lafarge Cement at the time, so she wanted nothing to do with his company. So it was always him and himself and his partners there. So he ventured into mining, which he did quite well for a bit, but he pumped in money, but little came out. But when he left the job, back home at Synvest Electronics, that was the company, it was left unattended. He left one of his peers who was managing it, and little did we know that he was taking loans in the business's name without consulting my dad. So when everything finally came out after a year, the friend got out of the business, and now we're in debt. So we had to lose the house we were staying in. We had to go back. My mom at the time, she was at Lafarge Cement, as I said. They'd gotten a housing project down in April. So we're able to at least have a roof over our heads, and we managed to move there. So it was a bit of a hard time, but we had to keep going.
Yeah. And were you prepared already in any way for the drastic change that came upon your family?
I'll say in some way I was, because I started commuting using combis. I think when I was younger, my parents always used to go with me, so it was something I was familiar with. But now with the setting I was getting into, it became a whole different ballgame. Because I was learning with children from millionaire parents, and I'm this kid coming to school using combis. So in its own environment, it was now difficult, and I could say experience is the best teacher. So I think as I experienced it, it became a learning curve on its own. And I'll say it was then the best preparation I got for now, but not for that time. So it was an experience that was preparing me for this moment to be here today.
And in this new place, new school with all these students, how did it make you feel being the only student commuting with combis?
I'll go down memory lane. So just outside the Heritage School is the Borodale Brook Estate. I'm sure most of us know it as the Brook, where the Bingas of Harare and Zim live. So what I did now, me as a youngster, I didn't want people to know my situation. So the combis used to drop us off right by the entrance of the Brook Estate. So what do I do as a clever young man? I told them, guys, I'm coming from the Brook. I live in the Brook, my uncle lives there. So I tried putting up this act. This was 2018. It was hard to maintain. So I'll be the first person to arrive to school, and I'll be the last one to leave, just to make sure that the guys, the boys, don't see me going into a combi waiting at the bus stop. So it was hard to handle, and the lie had to change. I then told them I'm staying at my uncle's house in Painona. I do have an uncle who lives in Painona, but I didn't stay there. So now that was an alternative. And it was also hard to handle. But it all changed. And then I think I got to accept it. And I just started telling people the truth and what they say. The truth will set you free. And I'll say that was the biggest relief I ever got. Just to tell my friends, guys, this is not my situation. I'm using combis. I drop off by 4th Street, Pamarink in town, and this is me.
Yeah. And trying your best, you are met with hardships that even people around you notice and know that you're not supposed to be where you are, like kombinge, you're trying kombi. What did this statement do to you?
I'll start in the present moment that day. It was a hard thing. The moment he said that, I started complaining. I said, I hate my life, I hate my dad, I hate everyone, because no one's doing the best for me. And that statement really made me realize that we are not what we have. Because what we have is what people see, but we are what's inside us. And what this man told me after I started complaining, like I said in the speech earlier on, he asked me, can you see? I said yes. Can you walk? I said yes. Can you talk? And that's the foundation of life. There are some people in the streets, they can't see, but I can see. There's some people who can't walk, but I have both legs. Some don't even have parents at home, but I have both my parents. So this statement actually helped me to realize that there's more to this than just me. Life is bigger than my problems. There's more to it, and I have a lot more to experience.
Going through this, did you ever feel the need to blame someone for the situation you found yourself in?
100%. I blamed it all on my dad. If you hadn't gone into mining college, if you're listening. So I blamed him for everything. But I think as time went on, as you mature as well, I got to realize that it's a choice you had to make. And being an entrepreneur as well, you have to be a risk taker. So he had to take the risk. But now that I actually look back, it was preparing us for now. It was preparing me for the message I'm now sending from my heart. So if God had given us this opportunity back then, I don't think I'll be the same person right now, sharing the same message. So to say, I blame you, Dad, but at the same time, I'm grateful.
Yeah. All right. And in your speech, you quoted Matthew 19, verse 25. I take it you're a Christian. And going through these tough times, did you ever feel like God wasn't there, wasn't listening? It didn't exist?
I'll be honest, it was the easy way out to blame it all on God, because you can't handle the situations on your own. So for some of the things I wondered, why me? why do I have to go through this? Why now that I'm now at the Heritage School? Because I thought God, because I really prayed hard to get into the Heritage School. So God had given me this blessing. Why now take everything else away? But little did I know He was preparing me to then be here today. As said in Jeremiah 29 verse 11. I love that verse. For I know the plans I have for you. Plans to prosper you and not to harm you. Plans to give you hope and a future. That's the foundation of everything. Because only God knows the plans He has for us. We know what we want, but God knows what we need. Because what we want and what God has planned for us, we might think God is actually fixing us or has neglected us, but only when we've crossed the bridge, that's when we realize that this is what it was for. I was having a conversation with Nkoma Jonathan earlier, presentation of millions of others out there. I'm just grateful that God has given me this voice to be able to tell my brothers and sisters out there that we can do it. We are together in this and we're not alone. So I thank God for everything, even though I claimed it myself, but it's all because of God.
Yeah, we'll give it back to Him. All right. And going through this, how were you doing academically? Let's talk about academics.
Yeah, 2018 it became hard. Because now we're living in a 2-bedroom house. I didn't have a room for myself where I can say I can study. So I was really struggling with my academics, and I was pretty fine coming out of primary school, but now I started slacking off because I had a reason for every bad grade I got. So I started giving myself excuses, which were reality, but they were more of excuses to me. So I started getting C's and D's. I was just above the borderline, but I was really struggling because it was a point in my life where it was about the mental health, and I wasn't really doing well mentally, so my grades struggled.
And but look at this now, O-level, 6 A's and 2 B's, AS, 3 B's and 1 C. Congrats and well done. A round of applause there. So what does it take to be an A student, looking at these results?
So number one is don't make excuses. I remember when I was in 2019, I had a reason for every bad grade. But I'll be honest, I know of people, one of our school directors, the owners of Heritage, she had a child when she was still going to school. So she had to study whilst with the baby on her back. But she's managed and she got a doctorate degree. I know of people out there that have nowhere to sleep, some learn under trees, but they have textbooks. I know we have reasons why we don't do well. I can imagine a kid coming from Zaraban, they don't have the resources, but you might get textbooks from the school. Use them. Because an excuse, yes, it's fine, it's a reason, but it's not a reason enough for us not to do well. I'm looking at our generation, I'm a 2K. We have pretty much a reason for everything, but think about what our parents had to go through. My dad was a kid from Umusha. He grew up in Zaraban. He used to walk to school every day, 10 kilometers plus. He didn't have the same resources I have now, but he's made it to where he is today. But yet I seem to have a reason for not doing well. So when I was in 2018, everything changed. A mentality in me started, something just flipped. So that's the power of attitude determines your altitude. So when I changed my attitude towards my grades, it's like everything just happened miraculously. It's the sacrifices. No one's going to see us working hard. It's about the late nights. I'll be honest, when I was going home, I'd give myself reasons not to study. I would say, because I come home at 7, so I think I'll study at 8. At 8 we start eating. I said, I'll start at 9. Then I only do homework for about 30 minutes. And then I say, I'll do another 30 minutes. And then tomorrow comes, and it's the same routine over and over again. But when I was coming into my Form 4 year, I had to realize that this is my life. I can give excuses about my dad, but he doesn't have the same dreams I have. So I had to take action, and I'll put in the late hours. I'll start studying from 6 up to 8 when we eat. After 8, I'll study up to 10. Then I'll wake up at 4 a.m. and study again and do it consistently, because the power of consistency is where everything is. Because you can study the night before, that's fine, but imagine what you could have achieved if you started 6 months early. So it's about the process. A's don't just happen overnight. I know my brother Chiwara, I see you. He got a lot of A's in his O-levels and he sacrificed a lot because it's not easy, but it's worth it. And if it's a kid, if we are learning and we're in high school at the moment, boys Rambo, I see you there. Work hard. It's not easy. No one promised that it's going to be easy, but it's going to be worth it. And it will be seen on the straight A's that you get at O-levels or A-levels.
Alright, hard work, attitude, and consistency. Alright. And going back to your speech, Nkosi, you said in life we may chase the wrong things. What do you think young people often chase, and what's greater than these things?
I'm not going to be popular for this, but to all my friends, they always tell me that when I grow up I want to be rich. That's fine. When I grow up I want to have a Maserati. That's fine. But we tend to chase these things instead of others. Let me get into depth. It's about chasing what we think the world wants. What Ronaldo has. Ronaldo has a G-Wagon, so I want one as well. We chase the clout. We want to be the best. We want to have the fanciest title. We want to be the best entrepreneurs, to be the best in Zim. Some even want to be the president. That's fine. But the bigger thing is, why? Yes, you now have $1 million. Then what? When we are in pursuit of money, a lot of things can happen. Some we've heard about losing the toes at our feet, and it's been happening. But when you know your why, you know the limits. So because our generation, we want to be the best, we want to be seen as the snazziest with the best car, we tend to get into the wrong things and make some of the hardest decisions. But now we'll say, being rich is not a problem, but let it not be the main reason why you want to do it. It has to be a byproduct. It has to be a bonus. I want to be the best golfer in the world because when I become the best golfer in the world, a kid from Zimbabwe is going to see me and say, it's possible. I can do that as well. When I become the best golfer in the world, I'm going to make a lot of money. And what do? I come and lift up Zimbabwe. I give kids opportunities. Because in us chasing the monies, yes, you can buy a Maserati. I'll guess and say it goes for about 100,000. Imagine what you can do with 100,000 for a village called Surura in Busape. Imagine the lives you can change for people. So it's all about, it's good to have good cars. That's not a problem. But let's not have more than we can handle. If you have a GT6, good for you. But don't buy the latest one next year. Instead, save that money and go invest in other people out there. I got an opportunity to travel to a small village called Surura in Busape, like I was saying. In a 20-kilometer radius of the village, there's not a single computer. Not a single one. You find children in Form 4 learning computer science, but they learn it from magazines. Then what are we doing? What are we doing as a generation as we're growing up? Yet we can't go into the field and understand what the people need and just give everyone an equal opportunity.
So what do you think is more fulfilling? A life that is given to you or a life that you work for? And why?
I've gotten the privilege to experience both.
Yes.
I was happy when because I grew up in quite a big house. I grew up in Letombo Park. It was really nice and comfortable. But that's what it is. It's comfortable. That's the disadvantage of having everything given to you. Our parents, as Ahmad 2Ks, our parents came from nothing. Their parents came from nothing as well. So they appreciated everything. When you're given everything, you're not going to appreciate the little things. The little things like having a meal at night. The little things like having a roof over your head. The little things like being able to go to a school and wear uniform. Because some people don't have it. And that's the power of working hard for something. Because when you don't have, you have a reason why you want to succeed. I'll be honest, I love rock bottom. My sister from Benga, the Tonga princess, you understand it better than anyone. That when you don't have, gives you even a bigger reason to succeed. Like what Denzel Washington says, fall forward. And that's the power of being rock bottom. Because it's like you're against the wall. The only way left to go is forward. And that's the power of not having much. If you look at some of the greatest leaders, Martin Luther King, Barack Obama, the list goes on and on. All of them came from nothing. Madiba, Nelson Mandela, he didn't have much. So he appreciated everything. And look where he ended up. So it's not saying that if you have you're at a disadvantage. No. If you have, you're actually at an advantage because you can do so much more and you can be so much more. Because we have to start from here, but you're already here. Then just keep it going and prioritize the right things. So if I were to be asked which situation was the better for my life, I'll say it was when I didn't have, because I appreciated everything. And I'll say I learned a lot more in that way.
And in all your interviews, they always ask the same thing. Have you always been this confident, articulate, eloquent? It's mind-blowing. How do you do it?
Alright, let me take this moment. May I please ask everyone to please stand? Thank you. I think you can take your seats. I'm gonna ask, what if that chair broke when you sat down? Did you think about that? What if the chair wasn't there when you sat back down on the seat? Did you think about that? And my guess is no. That's faith. It's as simple as that. It's what God gives us, faith. So when you have faith in what you're doing, it doesn't matter where you are. It doesn't matter how many people you're talking to. You're just gonna do it. Like what they say, faith the size of a mustard seed can move a mountain. You trusted the chair, but there's a chair of life. Did it promise you that it was gonna pick you up? My guess is no. But you have faith that it was gonna be there. And that's all. That's our faith, whether you're speaking, whether you're a golfer, a rugby player, a student, any ventures of life, an entrepreneur, you're going for the biggest targets, you're going for that best post in the company, working on the project, have faith. And that's the power of it. If it's an entrepreneur, faith-driven entrepreneurship, that's what it's all about. And I'd say everything just falls under faith, because with God, anything is possible.
But what did you do to polish your confidence to this level? What books do you read? What videos do you watch? What do you do? Do you do public speaking? What do you do?
Let me go back down memory lane as well. I was at Highlands Primary School, and I got my first ever opportunity to do public speaking. I created the best speech I thought I would ever make, so I presented it. I even took my blazer off in the speech, and everyone was happy for me. But they didn't select me to perform on speech night. So I was left wondering, why? So it was only when I was in grade 7, at the end of the year, that those same teachers that rejected me came and spoke to me. They said, if we had given you that post, you were going to be big-headed. You were going to think that you can do anything you want just because you're Nkosi and you've got a nice touch with the tongue. They wanted to humble me. And that was a good experience for me, because I realized that no matter how good you think you are, people can just say no to you like this. And it was a great experience for me. And as I got into high school as well, that lesson carried was with me every step of the way, because I realized you can be talented, but be humble. So I kept it going, and I only started doing speeches, public speaking at school in lower 6 when I was campaigning. So it was actually quite nice that I got to show the world what I can do and who I am. So I'd say all those experiences, they helped me, but I really owe it all to God, because I can only do so much by myself. The rest, even when I gave my speech the other time, I just thought I was talking to my peers in school. But I'll be honest, it wasn't me speaking that day. I just feel like God took over everything, and that's just what I do. It's more of a gift than me being talented or anything. Yeah.
Okay, awesome. And now let's fast forward to 6 years from now, when you'll be 25, correct? How would you ideally want your life to look like, and how do you plan to get there?
So I'm aspiring to be a computer scientist as well as an electrical engineer. So by 25, I want to finish my first project. I won't disclose it now, but we'll see it when I'm 25 and it's on the headlines. So I want to finish my first project, which I believe is going to change quite a lot of systems around the world. Because I've noted this same, it's lacking on almost all the systems around the world. So I'm really working on that. I won't tell people what I'm doing, but I'll just let the results speak. And then I really just want to have started my charity work. I want to reach out to so many places in Zimbabwe and reach so many young people, which I believe is going to give everyone an opportunity. Because I got to talk to some kids from Zurura, like I said, they want to be nurses, they want to be doctors, they want to be engineers, but they don't know what an engineer is. So I just want to do work that we can go and give them opportunities. If it's a weekend, let's say we make a scholarship opportunity, we give them targets when they're learning, that whoever does well and becomes top 5 in class after this term gets an opportunity to just come to Harare, visit some of these popular Group A schools, just experience what it really is, and just understand the world of going. Because you never know who the next Mark Zuckerberg is. You might neglect a kid from Norway, but they're the ones who are gonna be big. So I just want to give everyone that opportunity. And I'll just let the results speak for themselves. I don't like talking too much because it would then disclose everything.
Yes.
And with my golf as well, I want to have turned pro by then, and I want to be battling out on the Sunshine Tour or the PGA Tour. But if I get the opportunity to go to the PGA Tour first, perfect, I'll go for it. But chances are I'm gonna have to come back home and start working on the circuits here and really work hard in climbing the ranks to go from PGA Tour. I mean, from Sunshine Tour to Asian Tour to European Tour, and who knows? This is for the golf fans.
Yeah.
Maybe live golf if you watch golf. So yeah, it's going to be interesting. I'm quite excited about that, and we'll have to see what the future holds.
Wow, I believe you can achieve all of that and more. And to close off, Nkosi, if you could just shout out to 2 young people in Zimbabwe who you think are doing exceptionally well and are being impactful.
Man, I would have loved to say the joke that Callum said, but he took it away from me, man. Shout out to you, Nkosilathi. What you're doing is really good. Being able to unite all of us, because we're young, and young doesn't mean age, it means the mind. So I'm grateful to see my seniors out there. I'm looking forward to learning a lot from them. And also you learning from us, because it's us sharing the knowledge and being there for each other. And it's events like these that give us that opportunity. So I'm grateful. And a shout out also to a friend of mine named Chikomborewe Mapai. She's founded a movement known as We All Can. So what this does is they go to villages around the country. So far I've started with one, where you donate textbooks, the little things that we tend to take for granted and are just throwing away at home. But for the kids out there, it's something important to them, like novels, stationery, the textbooks. She's really started that movement, and the hopes are that it's going to keep growing and a lot more youth will be involved in that. So I'm quite excited, and I wish all of you the best. And it's only the beginning, so I'm really excited.
Thank you so much, Nkosi. Thank you for sharing your impactful story. You're the definition of inspiration and leadership. A round of applause, please.
Thank you.